last quarter went, and Carlton have qualified for the grand final and have given themselves a chance at revenge against the Hawks in 1987. They won it by 15 points, 11-14-80 to 10-5-65. And the Hawks have to struggle to make their 5th successive grand final.
And shades of last year, with the Blues winning the second semi, again having many more scoring shots as they did last year. Today 25-15, but only taking control in the last quarter. 3 goals to Kernahan, 2 to Evans for Carlton, and for Hawthorn 2 each to Dunstall and Platten, 64,333 at VFL Park. In the Carlton rooms, no one was happier than Stephen Silvagni, who was omitted for the grand final last year after having a bad day in the second semi. But today he was a star at fullback and now gets the chance to emulate Dad Serge, who was a part of Carlton premierships in 1968 and 70. Stephen told Drew Morphett after the match he was conscious today of the fate he suffered last year.
I wanted to make sure that I was there in that grand final day, and I've been thinking about it all week, and thank God that I played reasonably well today.
I'm surprised you've only been thinking about it all week. I thought it might have been all year.
Oh yeah, I probably have been thinking about it all year.
Well, you've been moved around a little bit. You've been used in a lot of positions at Carlton. Is fullback where you're going to slot in, do you think?
Well, at the moment I'm just happy to get a position anywhere, but I know wherever the coaches and the selectors feel fit to play me, I'm happy at the moment.
Now, what extra words of advice does your father give you? Because he's around all the time, he's training, every night of the week. Does he give you a bit special on the side?
Oh yeah, he gives us a few helpful hints now and then, but he doesn't really, get in the way. He sort of lets me do my own thing. So it's handy to have a sort of like a second coach around. No, but he's really good.
That's great. Are you looking forward to another week's break at this stage of a long season?
Oh yeah, a break's good for our injuries and that kind of thing. So over the next couple of weeks we'll be training very hard to make sure that this year we take the flag home.
I mean, how much has last year's disappointment on grand final day been talked about and used as a spur for this year?
Oh well, it's very disappointing to lose a grand final, especially by the margin we lost it last year. A lot of the guys are very disappointed in their effort and that, but they all want to redeem themselves, so everyone's got their own goals and that kind of thing, so I think they'll put up a better effort this year.
Everyone's talking about last year already. In the losers' rooms, Peter G asked Alan Jeans whether the Hawks will now draw on any of last year's experience in their effort to come back from defeat to win the flag.
Oh, well, we always stick to the normal routine. We don't try to do anything different because after all the excitement and all that, and I know finals create this, it's just another game of football which our blokes are quite experienced at playing.
Does that excitement drag something physically out of the players as well? Would you like that week's rest? In the last quarter there, it seemed as though Carlton benefited by it.
Oh, well, if you win, it seems to benefit. If you lose, then it's the argument. It appears to be obvious, it's an obvious thing, and people sort of, if you win, they say, well, the spell did them good. If you lose, well, they say it's the other way. But, there's a lot of pros and cons for both of them. If you can get through without injuries, but unfortunately the 2 games we've played, we've sustained a few injuries to our top-class players.
Jason Dunstall, the one injured today, was on crutches after the match, and he could miss next week, would be hoping to be back for the grand final. Justin Madden, not too bad, I don't believe, a slight knock on the head. One report, Bernie Evans, like Fraser Murphy in the second semi-final last year, a Carlton Rover reported on a striking charge, got the biggest hawk, or is alleged to have done so, Greg Deere, in the second quarter. TAB info, winning team, Carlton Selection 2 paid $2.75. The double, 10 and 2, paid $34.10. And the footy quad 9, 10, 9 and 2, $864.20. Now to the best mark of the second semi-final, and it was one of a string taken early by Ken Hunter.
Certainly, some of the stakes look like Carlton have been just so nervous.
Looks like a chance at rain. Big crowd starting to put the coats on. Johnston bursts out of the middle, up towards half-forward. Ayres. Oh, what a mark by Hunter, who's been the best forward on the ground by a mile.
Roundup of scores on senior second semi-final day. Carlton winning its way into the grand final by 15 points. They also beat the Hawks in the reserves first semi by 35 points, and North through to the under-19s grand final with a 21-point win over Richmond. On the goal-kicking table, only 3 scorers today. Dunstall moving to 94, still got a way to go. Kernahan got 3 for 70, and Dermot Brereton 1 for a total of 63. And now to goal of the day, and a bittersweet day for Bernie Evans. He was reported, but in a winning team, kicked goal of the day.
Shows the dear handball to Alvin. Through the hands of Sartori, here's Hunter. 2 to beat, 1 is down. Bernie Evans. Which way will it bounce? It's a goal! The big leg break, and Bernie Evans brings up his first.
About as big a leg break as Laurie Keane's at Subiaco against Hawthorn a bit over a month ago. Well, the first semi-final is on tomorrow at the Melbourne Cricket Ground between Sydney and Melbourne, and we'll have our Super Sunday telecast from 6 o'clock, 60 minutes of action tomorrow night, and of course live coverage of the VFA preliminary final between Port Melbourne and Williamstown from 2:10 tomorrow afternoon. That's all for tonight on the day when Carlton won its way into another grand final. Good night.
.30 tonight, it's Mike Walsh, and he's got them all talking. Each week, Mike Walsh brings you great music, top entertainment, comedy.